The Hermès game is literally so embarrassing.
This is a Birkin 35, and I think that I'm going to sell her.
I spent over $25,000 trying to play this Hermes game to get a Birkin or a Kelly. I've not been offered one yet.
Did you get a Birkin from Hermes today?
No, I didn't.
Why is that?
Same story as always. They don't have any bags, wish list only.
There's a store where the most coveted items aren't displayed, prices aren't advertised, and the only way to buy is to be chosen. This is the world of Hermes. You don't just walk in and buy a bag like it's a latte. You enter a game with no written rules and absolutely no guarantees. The Birkin and Kelly are earned through a ritual of relationship, strategy, and patience. Today we're unpacking and deep diving into the mysterious Hermes bag game. Hi babes, my name's Taja, mother of twins, lover of luxe things, and your guide for showing up with style and intention. With the end of the year approaching, I have been seeing loads of videos about luxury purchase regrets, in particular regrets over buying Hermes bags, and I thought it would be interesting for us to discuss all of the background behind how you actually get your hands on an Hermes bag and the Hermes game and all that it entails. First though, I wanted to show my hand, and so my hand is that I actually want an Hermes bag. I don't own one, however I have two on my wish list, right? I have a Birkin 25, yes, unpredictable, and a mini Kelly, preferably in a really summery color. So I'm not coming from the perspective of somebody who doesn't really understand luxury shopping or doesn't really do luxury shopping. I love shopping, I love fashion, and one of my most favorite things to do is buy expensive stuff, guys. It's something that I like to do, okay? So I wouldn't say I'm a part of the Hermes online community, but I have for years followed the conversations around Hermes shopping and what it takes to get a Birkin, Kelly, and even a Constant sometimes. I also was not born rich. I am very financially literate, and I'm not crazy. However, I do still want one. So now you know where I'm coming from. Let's start with defining what the actual Hermes game is, right? So when people discuss the Hermes game, what they are referring to is the most common approach that is taken to buying some of Hermes's most notable bags. Hermes is most famous for two main bag styles. One, the Birkin, which was created by Jane Birkin, and the Kelly that was designed by Robert Dumas in the 1930s. On the face of it, they are both more classic styled, more simple styled bags. Depending on who you ask, the style has been described as boring, but for other people, the styles are classic. However, these bags are not made available for everyone to buy. So for example, if you were somebody who was feeling a bit hungry, you wanted to buy some bread, you go to your local supermarket, you pick up the bread, you buy the bread, you take it home, you eat it, right? If you decide you want an Hermes, Birkin or Kelly, there is not usually an option where you can walk into an Hermes store, ask for one and get given one and go home and wear the bag. It's generally not how it works.
Let's see what happens when we go into Hermes and ask for a Birkin bag. Is it possible to buy a Birkin here today?
Excuse me?
Is it possible to buy a Birkin bag?
Bag?
Yes. I've come to Paris for the day and I was wondering, I'd really love to buy a Birkin.
What?
So I would really like to buy a Birkin today.
Really, today is not possible.
Hermes don't have tons of stores, so there are a number of stores that usually have an allocation of bags, and the game involves you being offered the bag. So in theory, you walk into a store, you in some way let the sales assistant know that you are interested in buying a Birkin or a Kelly, and hope, cross your fingers, that at some point they might call you to a more private room and present you with a box that they open, and you hope that it is the bag that you want, in the color that you want, in the size that you want. And so you'll find all over the internet, in forums, customers explaining or describing how they were able to get their Birkin or their Kelly. And what has been established over time is that in most cases, customers were offered their Birkin or their Kelly out of one of two things, sometimes both. One is building a relationship with an SA. So that requires you go into a store, you meet a sales assistant, and you build a relationship with them. The building of the relationship usually involves spending money, right? I have not yet heard of a case where somebody, just passes through Hermes every other day to speak to their favorite SA, don't buy anything and leave. This building of the relationship usually involves the spending of some money. okay? And in most cases, people tend to be buying things that they might like. Sometimes they don't need. Sometimes they may focus on buying more entry-level products, so buying pillows, buying covers, buying belts, buying shoes, right? Buying smaller, more affordable items, with the ultimate goal being to demonstrate to Hermes that they are a genuine customer with a genuine interest in the brand.
Spent over $25,000 trying to play this Hermes game to get a Birkin or a Kelly. I've not been offered one yet, but a lot of people want to know, what have I spent my money on thus far? First thing, I bought 2 pair of like gold Oran sandals, a pair of white Oran sandals, a pair of like, I think it's like the Shirley Oran sandals. I've also bought a pair of men's Izmir sandals, chiffre sandals, 2 blankets, 1 pillow, a pair of the boots. I literally love the freaking boots so much. The Evelyn bag and the Getta bag, 2 card holders, and I also purchased like a necklace. I think that's about it, you guys.
Okay, so it's this part of the game that usually gets scoffed at, right? And in some cases, belly laughed at.
Excuse me.
Don't touch me. Oh my God, Brandon, again. It's so good to see you. It is so good to see you.
It's so good to be back.
Yeah. Get the Birkins, get the Kellys, get everything. Just like I thought. How can I help you today, Brandon?
Well, I was here to just look around, maybe browse a little.
Oh.
Okay, well, I guess my wife, she needs a new bag.
Let me show you what she needs right here. Look at this beautiful Birkin. Gold hardware, beautiful color.
I don't know, the color is not really what I was looking to get to.
Kind of sounded like I had a ungrateful buyer. Brandon, let me remind you, okay? I will shut you out.
Fine. I'll take it.
The idea that somebody has to go into a store and spend lots of money before they get offered a bag that may not even be the bag that they want, right? So for example, I want a Birkin 25. I think I want it in a granite grayish color. But if I were to be playing the game, I might buy a few things, buy perfumes, buy belts, you know, do the whole dance, build a relationship with the SA. I know their name, I have their number. In some cases, I've seen people even message their SAs on occasions like Christmas or New Year's, you know, doing all that kind of thing, right? So I would do that, but then I'd get called to a room and they'd open a box that might have a Birkin 25 in pink. Okay, and then the question is, do I want to buy this £10,000 bag, depending on where you're buying from, right? This £10,000 bag in a color that I don't even want, right? That's usually the part of the game that is generally perceived to be the most ridiculous.
So these are some bags that my SA showed me and that I nicely refused. So the first one is a Birkin 30. I asked for a Birkin 30 or a Birkin 25, but I was looking for neutral colors for a Birkin 30. And this one I refused because it was simply not the leather that I wanted and not the color that I wanted.
However, this is a game that many people are quite dedicated to and take very seriously. I'd say that playing this game is the most common approach to getting your hands on a Birkin or a Kelly, unless you are a VVIP, maybe you're some kind of celebrity, somebody who maybe spends loads and loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of money with Hermes, or if you just resign yourself to buying secondhand, okay? And if you guys know anything about Hermes bags sold secondhand, you'll know that sometimes these bags are costing double, sometimes triple the amount that they are sold for at retail on the resale market, right? So for somebody like me who's based in Europe, I can go to Paris, I might be able to pick up a Birkin 25 for around 9,000 euros, depending on the year. They keep hiking their prices, you know, so I'd probably spend double that, 20,000, 30,000, trying to pick up the bag resale. So for some people, the rationale is I can go and buy this Birkin 25 that I really like in the color that I want, in the style that I want, sometimes unworn or very, very gently used, and just spend double. I haven't mentioned yet, but the price of these bags are astronomical, okay? They're not cheap bags, right? So you could say to yourself, you know what? I can't wait. I don't want to play this game. I'm just going to go and buy the bag secondhand. Or there are other people who are like, well, if I'm going to spend double anyway buying the bag secondhand, why don't I try to play this game and maybe even spend less money? I've seen some people spend around maybe £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 in a store, maybe even sometimes make one purchase in a store and then the next time they go in, they're offered a Birkin, right? So it's all a bit of this game where for those who have an interest or an understanding of how Hermes works, it is not generally socially acceptable to go into a store and just ask for a Birkin.
Oh my God, they have Birkins in stock here.
Oh, you probably can't afford that. What can you do for me today? I mean, what can I do for you today?
Well, I see you guys have Birkins in stock. Can I get one of those?
Are you outside of your mind? What do you think this place is? I don't even know who you are.
My name is Brandon.
I don't care what your name is or who you are for that matter. How much money have you spent here?
I mean, I've bought like a pair of sandals and something just last week.
That's really cute. That's actually hilarious. I have an idea. Why don't you leave and come back when, I don't know, you're not broke. I'll actually show you out right this way.
There are many videos that kind of show people going in store and just straight up asking for one. Yeah, most of the time, the look on the staff's face is kind of like, ask again and we're kicking you out.
I entered the store and security is everywhere. I asked to buy their nicest bag and they said this:
we don't have any stock available at the moment. All the Birkin go as a wish list.
I asked how long the wait is and they said
3 to 5 years.
What? 3 to 5 years? Yeah. What can I do to get it quicker than that?
When you go into Hermes, the unwritten rules are quite strict. So one is you don't come up in here and ask for a Birkin. Okay, you don't come in here and ask for a Birkin. You don't come in and ask for a Kelly. Okay, because chances are they will find a way to make you feel so uncomfortable that you feel like you need to leave. We are currently experiencing a luxury slowdown, but Hermes is one of those brands who has managed to maintain its popularity, even grow in popularity, all while some of the more popular luxury brands are struggling to maintain the level of sales that they have made in previous years. Yes, they are still making loads of money, but the allure or the interest in Hermes has not waned, even though in some cases you have people who are playing this game so much that they are in tears, right? They're online in videos in tears about the fact that they have spent so much money and all they want is a bag.
Last time, my sales associate put me on the wait list for a Constance 18 in black or gold with gold hardware in October 2018, and nothing eventuated. I never received the bag. So it makes me wonder if there is really a wait list and how am I supposed to ever get my dream bag? It's been over 2 years since the last one and $27,000 of spending on items. Now, this is what I'm telling you guys, $27,000 on items, not counting the bags, like not counting the mini Ruly, the Pinkerton 18 or the Bleed. I know that you say there is no link selling, but it's getting to a point where I'm becoming extremely depressed in the process, especially when I see others getting Birkin or Kelly bags more than I have, who have not been shopping at the store for as long as me. If you can please confirm RE the wait list. No appointment necessary for this week at this stage, I'll take a rain check. That was the last email I ever sent. I know that they say there's no link selling, but I really am baffled. I do not understand what's going on, why other people are getting bags and not me. So, because I've been wanting a Birkin or a Kelly now for over 2 years, it's been 26 months. By the time I upload the video, it's probably gonna be like 27 months. And if you're not gonna offer them Birkin or Kellys anymore, then don't take my money. Why take my $27,000 in the past 2 years? All up, if I think about how much I spent all up, we're at like $200,000, okay? So, you know, I've spent a lot of money with them.
Or they've been building this relationship with this SA for so long and all they want is a bag and they've not been offered bags. They've been offered perfumes, they've been offered shoes, they've been offered the Lindy bag, they've been offered a Constance, but they haven't been offered a Birkin or a Kelly, and it is just driving them insane.
The Hermès game is literally so embarrassing. I just walked into a boutique for like the 6th time in 3 days asking them to take my money. I am literally begging them at this point and they're like, no, we don't want it. I actually like have the ick for myself. Like, joke's on me. Anyway, I'll be stopping back again this afternoon.
I think there's an interesting conversation around why people get so swept up in this game, especially when you're walking into a place where you essentially have to be given permission to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. And especially in a time like now where people are really struggling to buy the basics, I think everyone is thinking a bit more about how they spend their money. And that is not just for the less wealthy, that is for the more wealthy too. It's part of why there is a luxury slowdown, because even the top 1% aren't spending in the same way that they were before on luxury. I did do a video that I'll link here about whether luxury stores intentionally treat their customers badly. And the conclusion that I came to in that video was yes, it's a psychological game, okay? It's a psychological game of almost treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen, right? If owning a Birkin or a Kelly is perceived to be something that only a few people can do, and in reality, it's probably the case, right? In comparison to the general population, there are only quite a few people who have enough disposable income to spend that kind of money on a bag, right? And so luxury stores, not only Hermes, but luxury stores play this game with customers where they're aware that some customers want to be part of this exclusive club. Part of luxury branding is about exclusivity. So you want to be a part of this exclusive club, and in order to get there, you need to do the thing. Okay, and if you're not willing to do the thing, you can't come in. We saw that with them turning away J-Lo at the door in Chanel in Turkey. We saw that with Bethany Frankel being turned away at the door at Chanel. Chanel is notorious for being big meanies in stores, okay? People make purchases, maybe they receive a faulty item, they go back to Chanel. Chanel basically kicks them, throws all their stuff out the back door, just says, get out. Okay, how dare you come in here and ask us to help you with your faulty item?
Actual footage of returning an item at Chanel.
What do you need? Hi! I recently bought the caviar wallet and it came in the mail. But I noticed that there were some scratches on the hardware, so I was wondering if I can please exchange it for a new one or if you guys have anything else in stock. Okay, I'll take a look. Did you bring it? I did, so this is what the hardware looks like. I don't see anything.
The caveat is always, unless you are some kind of VVIP or you are a big spender, you're spending hundreds of thousands of pounds at Chanel every year, then maybe you might be able to get somebody to listen to you and give a shit, right? But otherwise, you need to get out. And so Hermes have done this very, very good job of playing this psychological game where people just feel as though it's a rite of passage. It's something I have to do to be part of the club. And so I'm either about it or I'm not. And for a lot of people, they decide that they are about it and they are willing to do the thing to get them what they want. Part of the issue though, and why I think we have been seeing so many of these videos about regretting buying a Birkin or a Kelly, is that sometimes I think people get whipped up into believing that they just want anything. It moves from having an interest in wanting a Birkin or a Kelly, deciding that you're willing to play the game, or figuring out that there's a game and deciding that you're willing to play it, maybe playing this game for a certain amount of time. I think some people who maybe start the game, maybe they make one or two purchases, they'll go into the store, they'll make one or two purchases, and then they are offered a bag, are a bit more clear-minded about what exactly it is that they are buying. And I found for those people, they tend to end up a bit more with what they want, because they might be offered a bag and they might think to themselves, it is rare, but they might think to themselves, you know what, I'm not going to buy this bag in this color or in this size because it's not actually what I want, and I don't mind, waiting to receive another offer. But I think for those customers who have spent loads and loads and loads of money, and sometimes, if we're real, sometimes money that they don't have, maybe making purchases on credit cards, and they've spent quite a lot of money. By the time they get the offer, they're just like, okay, just give me whatever it is. If it's a multicolored mini Kelly with wings, then just give it to me, because I will take anything at this point. I think that's where it's really important to, with any type of brand, but in particular luxury brands, just because they're so much more expensive, is to make sure that we're outside touching grass, guys. Don't get yourself so engaged or so stuck on, I need to have this Hermès Kelly, or I need to have this Birkin, or even I need to have this Chanel flat bag, right? I need one. I'm going to do all the things in order to get one.
I just bought this at Hermes in Paris and I'm not happy with it.
Can I have a look?
Yes, of course. It's totally the wrong model, the wrong color. I waited for 2 years for this and I'm so disappointed.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it happens to almost every single person
Well,
that's
yes,
selling us
but-
their handbag, because they do ask for a specific color and they offer them something absolutely
This
different.
is so wrong. This is not my style at all. So I'm really, really upset with it.
I understand when you say it's not your color, because I'm more of a neutral person.
Exactly. I mean, you see, I'm wearing gray, etc. So it's nice. But it's too bright.
It's not your
and
bag. Yeah,
no, not at all.
And obviously you can't really reject after waiting for 2 years, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, it feels like it would be the wrong thing to do, and yet it's not. It's not what I wanted in the first place.
There is no brand that should ever have you in a chokehold like that, ever. Okay. Also, I do enjoy shopping, so I can totally understand having a love for shopping. However, I'm not an emotional shopper and I'm not an impulse buyer. Okay. So any purchase I'm making, especially when it is more expensive, will be a purchase that I have thought about for a very, very long time. Okay. Hermes could not pay me to go into their store and accept an offer on a bag I don't want. Okay, it's just not gonna happen. So for me, the idea of the Hermès game, or even people having comments or opinions about the Hermès game and how stupid it is and all of these negative things, I don't really let faze me, because I know that when I decide I want to make my Kelly or my Birkin purchase, I'm gonna attempt to make the purchase. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And that's okay, right? That's okay. I'm unwilling to do all the things or do whatever the game is. Right? I'm unwilling to spend thousands of pounds. I'm also unwilling to buy on the resale market. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong from buying on the resale market. I think part of the game that Hermes makes people play has a lot to do with the resale market. They are probably overly aware of the fact that there are many people that go into an Hermes store, buy a bag, get offered a bag, and from the shop go straight to a reseller and are able to recoup what they spent and make a bit on top.
I've come fresh from Hermes and I want to sell my Birkin.
Oh, I love fresh bags. We get loads of clients that walk straight from Hermes to us, literally, and they sell us the bag. I can't wait to have a look at what you have.
Yes, please.
Is it as beautiful as your Kelly?
Absolutely, it's amazing. But I've got already a black bag.
Oh, okay, so it's a black bag.
Yes.
The lady literally walked from Hermes to here.
Yes.
How long was your walk?
Yeah, just 5 minutes.
So they are aware that there are people who are either resellers, so they're coming to buy just so that they can sell, and or they are people who are not really interested in owning a Birkin or a Kelly, and if they were given the opportunity to resell the bag, they would. And this is something that their CEO has come out and said is really important to them, the idea of making sure that you are actually a lover of the brand. And I know that there's tons of conversation also about, well, they are making you spend a ridiculous amount of money on the bag, so they've got a bit of a cheek to care about what you do with the bag after you buy it. And I'm not really sure about that conversation. I think we could go on all day and night about whether a bag, a bag that you put things in so that you can take those things from one place to the other, is worth £10,000, right? In most cases, for some people, the answer is no, it's a bag. Right? But for other people, there is a value, and value is not always tangible. There is an intangible value, as in a value that sits outside of physical, for people who are buying the bag. And we could argue about how much of that makes sense, but we make these kind of choices about all of our purchases all day, every day, right? I want a loaf of bread. There's a reason why I'm not buying the cheapest loaf of bread and I'm spending a bit more money on a more expensive loaf of bread, okay? Want a car, there's a reason why I'm not buying the cheapest car and I'm maybe spending a bit more money and getting a more expensive car, right? Most of the time, all the cars drive, you can eat all the bread, right? But the value that you see in each type of bread or each type of car varies depending on what it means to you. I thought we'd take a look at a couple of these luxury bag regret videos. This first one is by somebody called Mackie Benson.
I regret mine is the Kelly cut. Now, let me explain. I know.
So she's got a Kelly cut. It's like an East-West bag in this really nice color. I really, really like this blue color. I'm not a lover of the silver hardware though. I do prefer when the hardware is not silver.
No, I know everyone wants a Kelly cut, but it's not really my cup of tea. Honestly, I find the bag too long. I find it awkward to carry, but I figured, okay, for the collection, it's nice to have.
She's saying the bag's a bit hard to carry. I think this east-west style is quite trendy. And so if I were to be shopping with Hermes, I probably wouldn't have picked up this bag. You can kind of see behind her that it looks like she's got a few different Hermes bags, and she's talking about adding it to her collection. I think that there's two things. One is about the type of luxury shopper you are. Sometimes I think there are lots of stereotypes that are made about luxury shoppers. Of course, stereotypes are made about all types of people, so it is what it is really. But I think for somebody who has quite a lot of bags, maybe if you already own all the Birkins or Kellys that you want and then you get offered this type of bag, I can understand making that purchase. I have also seen quite a lot of commentary around collections and how ridiculous they are, because of course, depending on how big your collection is, how much wear are you really getting out of all of these bags? So I can see she's probably got like at least 8 bags, it looks like, behind her, that I'm sure were all very expensive and I'm sure she uses at her pleasure. To be honest with you guys, I do understand the conversation about overconsumption and, you know, being mindful about how you spend your money. And I think it is important to be mindful about how you are spending, no matter how much money you make. However, there is something that somebody from my community, Miss Lorraine, hopefully she won't mind me mentioning her, but she mentioned in one of my comments about people having monitoring spirits, and it was the exact description that I was trying to find for this type of theorizing. On one hand, I do agree, and I can see the argument that, you know, why would you need 50 Birkins? I'm sure you guys have seen the celebrity or influencer wardrobes where they've got like 10 million Birkins in loads of different colors. And of course, there are always extremes of everything. But I think the suggestion or the idea that most people who are buying Birkins or Kellys are people who are doing this exact thing with their Birkins or Kellys is a bit uninformed. I think for the most part, people who get their hands on Hermes bags are usually one of maybe 4 people. They're resellers, collectors, celebrities, which I would say relative to the population, there aren't tons and tons of celebrities, right? So they're going to be celebrities, or they're going to be people who genuinely have an interest or a love for Hermes bags and would genuinely like to own a bag, right? So maybe that's 3 types of Hermes shopper. I might be wrong, you guys can correct me in the comments, but the idea that I might shop and get a Birkin Kelly and not wear it and kind of hoard it and get loads of other ones and hoard it is just not an idea that resonates with me. It's not something that I would ever do, and I think it speaks back to some of the stereotyping that is applied to luxury shoppers. I think there are some people who of course take some caution around wearing their Birkins or their Kellys because they're expensive, and so that a lot of the times can make you a target, especially when you're in larger cities. So I'm not saying that I'd be wearing a Birkin 25 as my everyday bag, no, but I'd definitely be getting wear out of my bags. Although this particular purchase isn't one that I'd make, I can kind of see why she did pick up the bag.
A few months after I bought it, I was offered a mini Kelly in exactly the same color, just different levers. Now, given the choice on a night out,
she was offered afterwards the mini Kelly. That mini Kelly is sublime, okay? And I prefer the hardware.
Night out between the Kelly cut and the mini Kelly, I would always reach for my mini Kelly.
So I can understand actually why she might have some regrets over the Kelly cut, because the mini Kelly, in my opinion, I agree with her. I think it is a nicer, more wearable bag. So there was this other lady who made this purchase of a Birkin 30.
And here's mine, and it's a big mistake. I don't know what to do. Maybe you guys can recommend. Here's my bag that I got at the store. I was offered, I was so thrilled. I didn't care what color, what hardware, nothing. I just wanted to purchase it. And I didn't even inquire about the leather because it looked great. And
she said she didn't care about the color and the size. She just wanted to buy the bag. And I think that is kind of where I think we could be thinking a bit more critically. Sometimes I do understand it is easy to get kind of whipped up into the adrenaline or whatever nice feelings you're getting around being offered this bag that you've always wanted. So you're just going to buy it. But I think a lot of the times it does end up in people regretting their purchases. I don't necessarily think it's the end of the world because you can always sell it. But I think some of the issue around relying on the idea of resale is that somebody actually has to want to buy it. So yes, it is possible to resell your Birkin or your Kelly for more than what you paid, but that is also reliant on somebody actually wanting to buy it from you.
In person. However, let me bring it closer. This is a brand new bag. I've used it maybe a couple of times. It has scratched so bad.
So her bag looks like it's got quite a few scratches on it.
Badly, and the leather is graying and shading in such colors. It looks like I freaking abused this bag, which I don't. I've only worn it maybe 2-3 times.
The bag looks worn to me, and for some people that actually goes with the aesthetic of the Birkin, because Jane Birkin always used to wear her bags in a way that was quite slouchy and looked very used. I think the Olsen twins, they also carry their Birkins in a very slouched, used way.
Maybe 2-3 times. I did try to clean it, and I think I messed it up even more.
And she tried to clean it herself. Probably mistake number 2. I would never try to clean a Hermes bag myself, just because if you make a mistake and you ruin the leather, you know, there's not much else you can do outside of that. So I definitely would have taken it back to the store for cleaning.
But yeah, this was a very expensive mistake, and I'm embarrassed to carry this bag because it looks super old. And it looks like I don't know how to take care of my things.
Yeah, I wouldn't be embarrassed to carry it. And it looking old, depending on the aesthetic, is fine. So I don't know. I think maybe she made a mistake by trying to clean the bag, but I don't think it's awful. I don't know, maybe I've got Hermes eyes. I don't mind a slouchy or more worn looking Birkin. I think it's cute depending on your aesthetic. What do you think about the Hermes game? Are you playing it? Do you think it's ridiculous? Do you own a Birkin or a Kelly? Let me know down in the comments below.